to make sure that it's caught up. And then I also want to make sure I'm turning off my sound on my YouTube. Otherwise we have echo. Let's just make sure that's working. All right, we should be live. Yay. Okay. Let's just see if it's on. Are we on? Yes. I love when things happen. I'm always like shocked and amazed and awe when it actually happens correctly. So, hi, welcome.
Hi,
Uh,
Lynn.
Hi, I'm here with Adriana. Great to see you again. We had the absolute pleasure of meeting up in Knoxville, which was really kind of fun. I hadn't been to Knoxville in ages and ages. So it was really nice to be able to meet with Annie from Image Studios, Annie Lucas Hare, and then also Kayla from Neighborhood Bar. So nice to see you again.
Yeah, that was a great experience. I'm new to the Conscious Beauty Collective, and it's just so wonderful to be surrounded with other founders. I really appreciate all the hard work you've done, and thank you so much for doing this interview.
Of
I just feel
course.
like we're in a really good place being part of this collective.
Well, we are growing leaps and bounds. So that has been the cool thing is right now that we switched our model to be this pop-ins versus me creating stores, it's way more scalable. And I'm kind of like, why didn't I think of this earlier? Because here I was like working in a store for 2 years every day. And then it was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So, okay. So for people that don't know what we're talking about, the Conscious Beauty Collective is a group of now we have about 60 clean indie beauty and wellness brands. And we started in 2022 and we were doing our own stores coming out of COVID. And it was a great experience. And I learned a lot actually about what works and what doesn't. And also when we're partnering now with retailers, what to ask them for, like how to make sure we're getting enough love. So now what we do is we have what we call pop-ins, and we have 10 of them currently across the US. So we have the two in Knoxville that we just mentioned. We also have one in Brooklyn. We have one in Miami. We have one in upstate New York at Petal and Hive. We have two launching in New York City in about a week. We've got one launching in Newport, Rhode Island. We've got another one launching in Crozet, Virginia. I have been mispronouncing that, by the way, for like
So it's
months.
Crozet.
I thought it was Crozet. I didn't know it was
Me too.
Crozet, right? I'm like, oh, Crozet. And then somebody corrected me. I'm like, oh, nice to know. But anyway, yep, that one. And then actually in January, we're launching in Atlanta. So the nice thing about this is I've got probably more interest right now from partners than I have bandwidth to launch, but we're still launching 2, 3 a month. So hopefully as we continue to grow, we can continue to squeeze our costs and get our costs down because we'll have more efficiencies, which would be great. And then by the end of next year, it will be really fun to have like 30. I mean,
I love it.
launching in like, yeah.
It's just such a great win-win for the retailers, for us. It's such a great idea. The support and just more like we are a team in the collective amongst each other, but I also feel like we're a team with the retailers.
You
Um,
know what? That's exactly right. And that's really what I wanted because I don't know about you, and we're going to talk about your brand a lot in a minute, but I've had experience going into small retailers or boutiques just as my own brand, and they give
mhm.
me no love.
Right.
It's
I've been there.
like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? You're in there, they don't really understand your brand, or if they do, it's maybe one person there that knows, and the rest of them who work there really have no idea. They don't give you any social content. They don't give you any customer data. They don't give you really anything. And so that was really where I wanted to kind of fix that inflection point of that partnership of where the retailer and the brand can coexist and have a mutually beneficial relationship where it helps both of us because
Hmm.
it just makes sense, right? Oh, so anyway. And it's interesting also to see as we do these, which format is going to be the winner because we're in a lot of different types of stores. Uh,
Mhm.
and I will tell you, and you probably noticed this from the sales, we only have 1 month of data in Knoxville, but Image Studios definitely did a little bit better. Now, there could be reasons, just who knows? But I think over time, we'll start to see those patterns and then we'll have a better idea of how to maximize those opportunities. But
Yeah.
anyway, enough about the CBC. We're here to talk about you, ESTELÍ, which I think is just a beautiful brand on every level. Like it's beautifully made, the packaging is beautiful, the ingredients are beautiful, like everything. So we're gonna just dig in because I want to know a lot. And okay, you mentioned before the name is a town in Nicaragua.
Yeah, my mother is from Nicaragua. She immigrated to United States in, I believe, 1970. I didn't go to Nicaragua for the first time until 2007 and then and again in 2014. And even though I was raised here and obviously I inherited my dad's Irish skin tone, so I don't have the lovely golden tan, although I tried so hard with self tanners.
Yeah.
But anyway, despite that, I just felt such a connection with the people there. And also in as far as skin, my sister and I packed so much makeup when we went, for our trip, but we soon quickly learned that you get out of the shower, you put on your makeup, and it's just melting off because it's so
Mhm.
humid. But we had the most beautiful skin there. The humidity, we're in rainforest. I just felt so connected with nature and the land there. So when I did this skincare line, I actually, at the time I was there, even before this idea of a skincare brand was up, they mentioned that I heard the name ESTELÍ, and for some reason I kind of put that in my
Hmm.
memory as like that's a good brand name. So
Yeah.
that's how
Isn't
it
it
came to
funny how
be.
things work? It's like, here you are, and now you're doing it. So
Yeah,
when you first went to Nicaragua, did you just go to kind of explore your roots a little bit? It wasn't really with the intention of looking for ingredients or thinking about skincare.
correct. Yeah, it was we went with my aunts and some other family members and my mom and my dad and family. And it was just to explore. Um, that was it, is I just wanted to see where my mom grew up and, it has an importance to me. So, and then hearing about the beauty of it. So yeah, it was
That's
exploration.
interesting. Yeah, and I have not the same because it's not a family connection, but I have kind of a connection to Dominica, and it sounds very similar from a like very lush, very unadulterated island of like you go down there and again, like your skin kind of feeds off that sea, ocean,
Right.
humidity kind of thing. The only bad thing for me is bugs.
Oh
I
yeah.
show you my bug bites. They're awful. I was eaten alive and I yeah, maybe that would be an interesting thing for you to actually launch is like a natural bug spray because that's becoming a bigger category now.
Yeah, I actually make some for my family. And that's
You
how a lot of
do?
these things come up. It's like I make it for us and then people ask about it and then I think, okay, I should develop into a product. But as you know, it takes a long you got to come up with
Yes.
design and all that. So, but yeah, that's definitely in the
Oh my God, I will be your best customer if you make that because that's a need. It's so hard because you don't want to be spraying DEET on yourself all day long, but the alternative is you're going to get eaten alive. And the problem too is now mosquitoes can carry so many different diseases that,
right.
do you really want to risk coming down with some random, tropical disease that because of a freaking bite? But anyway. Okay, so then when was the last time you were back there? You said 2014. Have you been since?
Correct. I have not. I really want to, but I have not.
Are you planning? Are you trying to think ahead to figure that out? I know you have little kids.
Yeah, my dream would be to sort of live there and have my family attend those immersion courses because
Oh, yeah.
I, you know, I'm not fluent in Spanish. I understand it enough to get by and also to know when relatives are talking to, it was like a survival thing
Yeah.
as a kid. Like when mom and aunt and abuelita are talking about me, I want to be able to understand. So that's as far as it goes. But I would love for us to live there. Half a year would be a dream, and just have all of us learn the language fluently and just give.
That sounds spectacular. Like you got to
Yeah,
make that happen. That sounds incredible.
right.
I don't know how easy it is to just, you know, move your family all the, halfway across the world for that amount of time. But you know what? Who knows? A lot of people do
Yeah.
it. That
And
sounds,
I would love to help some of the I mean, with ingredients, sourcing from there. That would be a dream to
oh
help
my
those
God,
people.
that's a whole business too, being able to bring those ingredients here through some contract manufacturers. Actually, there's a couple of brands in the CBC that actually are contract manufacturers, and maybe it'd be worth you talking to them about that to see, like, would there be an interest in kind of optimizing their supply chain with some different things? So that's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
love that. That's so interesting. Oh my God, we could spend a lot of time talking about Nicaragua, but we won't. But it is very interesting. So I want to talk about your products though. So how did you start? What was your very first product? And
So,
yeah,
probably like I never thought I'd be a skincare person. But how it came about in two ways. My sister is a designer, and we were living in the Bay Area at the time. And at that time, I was making a space mist because I was suffering from some health issues, and I've started looking more at the ingredients and being obsessed with beauty products. I decided to formulate my own that I knew were safe and high quality. So I was
yeah.
just making it for myself. I gave some to my sister. She loved them. It was a face mist, which I have. This is the number one, the first product. It was a face
Yeah.
mist with rose. It's since been improved to add hibiscus. But that was it. So she loved it. She was actually working for she was in the beauty industry. She was working for La Mer,
Oh,
and
okay.
she said that she came home and she said, "Adriana, I'm selling so many because they think that my skin is a result of La Mer." When she's like, in reality, it's a result of your rose mist water.
Ah,
So she was a big fan, and she had rented a booth at a street fair in Hayes Valley. And she said, "I've got a booth. Why don't you sell your rose water mist?" And that was really the ultimate. Let's get this started. Come up with a name, packaging, and that got the ball rolling. So
great story. So, okay, but did you have any idea? It's almost like I don't want to, this is going to sound negative, but it's like opening a can of worms a little bit because once you get into the business, it's like one thing leads to the next thing leads to the next thing and you're so deep in it that it's
yeah, I
like,
mean, there was a lot of things I enrolled in a course at Formula Botanica because I realized I don't want to, like, this is big now. I don't want to
yeah.
sell things that aren't. So I looked at certifications, and I wanted to do it right. Um, so that's what inspired it. It was like, you've got a date, you've got to make it happen, you got to do it right.
And then people don't realize as entrepreneurs, if they're not an entrepreneur, especially a beauty entrepreneur, just how sort of full on it really is. It's, first of all, every time you make inventory, it's thousands and thousands of dollars that
Mm-hmm.
you're having to outlay. So different when you're in a business that makes physical products versus like, a software company or something. And then, on top of that, you've got your just daily operations costs, which if you're a small business in the DTC world, those costs have just been going up and up and
Yes.
up. So
Mm-hmm.
even though there are a lot of great resources and tools and some stuff has gotten cheaper overall, it's not an inexpensive endeavor to launch a business like this. And you have a lot of products.
Mm-hmm.
So how many products do you have now?
I have 9 key products, like singular products, and then they have the various sizes and
Yep.
kits. But it's 9 main,
Too many. I mean, that's not crazy, crazy.
right. Well, actually, sorry, I added the fragrances, so that adds an additional, I guess it's 15. Yeah.
Okay, so that's starting to get
It's
like,
still, yeah,
yeah, I mean, some of the brands have 100 products and I'm thinking, oh my God, like just managing the inventory and all of that it's a lot. But I
right.
do think having news and having new products to talk about, especially once you get a little established and you have customers who love you, that is a great way for us small brands to continue to grow. So because I imagine people would come in, they might have started by buying the spray,
Mhm.
but they're going to get hooked on a lot of your products because like your body oil is amazing, your scrub is amazing. So let's talk about some of those products too.
Yeah, so my bestseller, I have pretty much 2 bestsellers. And when I say that, it's the most subscribed products.
Mm.
One is my body oil, which I have here. It's the Verano body oil. So Verano means summer in Spanish. It wasn't made to be only for summer. It just has a lot of, it's citrusy, it's fresh. It's an upbeat and soft, delicate. And then the body oil formula is very moisturizing, not greasy. So that has been getting, the funny thing about that is I have a customer who she would place orders like rush shipping. And then I realized she's paying more for to USPS than to me. So I introduced subscriptions and now she's a
Yeah.
subscriber. But I had asked her about how she heard about me because at the time I was just a small business in California, and she was in Illinois. And she said it was before or at 2020, she had, I guess Lana Del Rey had an Instagram account and was supporting small businesses at the time. She said, and so the Lana Del Rey had mentioned my brand and a couple others. And the woman said that she tried mine and the others, and she really loved this one. So this is my, I'm so indebted to this product.
Love that.
And it's been an Oprah Daily Editor's Choice. It's been in a couple other magazines. And so this is really, because of this, I developed a perfume oil. I got into the natural perfumes. And so this is the
Mm.
perfume oil. It's all natural. Sorry, this is a perfume spray, all natural. And I also have a natural perfume oil inspired by that. So it's just fun to for these products to grow and evolve and just inspire so many other things.
I know, because it is true. It's like one thing will give you this idea to do something else, which gives you an idea to
Yeah.
do something else. And perfume is interesting because I feel like that category is really taking off these days. So that's actually like very on trend for you, I think, to have also clean because, their perfume is notoriously dirty
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of customers, people, our consumers don't understand that all the time. Um, and having a clean perfume takes work. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
actually not easy to do. Like you have to really trace all your ingredients and all that. And, I think for us small brands, to be able to create stuff that is clean, is high quality, is high performing, and people don't have to worry that they're spraying something on their body that is filled with phthalates.
Right.
Chemicals. Like that's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, and it's a lot more. Even developing a natural perfume, you have to wait a few weeks for it to. So when you're
Just
experimenting
settle.
and you put them
Mm,
together and you smell
yeah.
it, and you might not like it at the time, but you might like it a week later. So
Mm.
it's a lot of, I guess it's a craft, and it's an
It is a
expensive
craft. You're
craft
right.
because.
No, you're right. And also scent is one of those things, it's the sense that's most closely tied to memory.
Mhm.
And so there's certain, and you probably have this too, like if you go somewhere and it was like a childhood thing, you know what I mean? It evokes
Yeah.
sort of nostalgic or a certain sense have these memories. So that's also quite interesting to be, and then of course the scent smells different on everyone too. So
Hmm.
it may smell one way on you and differently on me, but the fact that it's clean is huge, and I love that you're dabbling in that. I mean, that's, I shouldn't say dabbling, sounds, you're going all in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more like it. Okay, so we talked about your body oil and your perfume. Let's talk about those exfoliating grains, because that's also a really interesting format.
Yeah. So it's again connected to my sister who was working in the beauty industry. I don't have that with me, but it's my product called
Yeah.
Planta Buff. It's exfoliating grains and it's made of pure plant materials. So it's got azuki bean, rose hip. Also it has clay, honey, and cardamom. There's some of the main ingredients, and every ingredient I chose for a purpose. Um, I was telling you about the origin of it is my sister had also, it's kind of funny how I got into this. I thought it was a gift to have all this access to all these high-end beauty products. So my sister gave me it was from Bobbi Brown. It's called, the label just said azuki bean.
Hmm.
And curiously, it didn't have the ingredient list on the bottle. Like I had to track down the ingredient list finally, and I noticed that the first ingredient was plastic beads. They didn't say it's a
Yeah,
chemical term.
that's
And I
maybe why
thought,
they
oh my
didn't
gosh,
want to
I thought this was made of
share it.
azuki bean.
Yeah,
And I don't
exactly.
I don't want to be rubbing plastic beads on my face, and also the environmental effects as well going down the drain. So I thought I want to create something truly with azuki bean. So that's my top ingredient. So that's what it was inspired. It's a great product. You just add water to it, massage it on your face. You can leave it on for a little mask, but your skin is exfoliated, and the rose hip helps brighten it, lighten scars. It's a one of my products that I'm really proud of. And that was something that when I started, so I started with three main products. It was the rose water face mist, the exfoliating grains, and the face oil. And Planta Buff, the exfoliating grains, was, to my surprise, picked up by the Zoe Report as the
Mm,
editor's choice. One day I was like, how did they find out about it? I guess it was found in one of my retailer shops, but
love
that's
that.
one of the ones I love too.
Oh
Actually, I
my
love
God.
them all, but
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, you've had a couple, okay, like you said, Oprah Daily and then Lana Del Rey, like you've had a few nice serendipitous moments. Uh,
yeah.
do you spend a lot trying to do press and influencer outreach, or do you just kind of let the product speak for yourself? What's your approach?
Um, I don't, because it's funny, because I used to be into fashion magazines and publications and blogs. And then once I got into this, I started not, you're in that world of like, so I didn't even really know, embarrassingly enough, I didn't even hear of the Zoe Report when so a lot of times I'll get things like, you were mentioned in this magazine, and I don't even really know what they are. I mean, of course now I do,
Yeah.
because, but yeah, the Lana Del Rey and that one were just kind of like big and pleasant surprises. So
Well, that's a big testament to your products, because the competition for getting that kind of mention and the amount of products they could talk about, it's like huge, right? So many
yeah,
products out there. So for them to pick your brand and your products are, I mean, that's a huge, like I said, that's a huge testament to the quality and the efficacy and how much they clearly enjoy your products.
yeah, yeah. It's that's one of the hardest parts about being a business owner, in general, for everyone. It's that has a product, consumer good, is um, getting the word out. It's like you can
Yes.
have customers that love your products, but if there's only a few, it's that's the probably the biggest challenge.
I agree. So what other tactics do you use to do that?
I've been trying, well, this last summer I was trying to do a lot of markets,
Mm,
um, which it was great to meet. I think that's my strongest suit is when people meet me in person. Otherwise, you're just another
yeah,
Google ad. I mean, especially with our products, you really need to, a picture doesn't do it justice. You really need to smell it, see how it works on you, and experience it in general, which you can't really do in on a website. So,
you're so right. And that was one of my epiphanies too when I started doing the stores, having conversations with people just about their issues, their hair issues, their skin issues, whatever. It was so enlightening for me. And
mhm,
I also realized people have a lot of questions, like a lot, and things that we just assume people know. But even like, you know, how to use our styling cream. I mean, I would think people would know how to use it. No, they don't. Yeah, they need,
right.
just a lot of questions around sulfates, clean, ingredients, clean beauty, parabens, this, that. I was getting a lot of skincare questions in the store, mostly related to either specific issues, like somebody's like, I've got dark spots, or I've got acne, or I've got rosacea, or I've got this or that, or whatever their issue was. That's a thing. Obviously, that, anti-aging is a thing. Uh,
Mhm,
but then I would also get a lot of questions from people that would ask about like, what order do I put products on in? Because now, the skincare routine theoretically could have 10 things in it or 20,
mhm.
because there's so many products and there's so many, and people would be like, do I need a toner? And what do I use that for? And do I need, so it's just interesting. And so I do think, to your point, having that face-to-face interaction and connectivity is just incredibly helpful. And you really, it's really tough if you're really just focused online to do that, because then you're kind of counting on other brands doing the education,
Mhm.
which, I mean, we're small, we can't do everything, but at the same time, it's, I think, more meaningful when you're able to really share, inform, educate.
And just interact. You're not just putting information, you're, like you said, answering questions that otherwise you wouldn't really think you needed to answer. But it's just having that engagement.
Yeah, it's been really great. The other thing I noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this too, because you have lived on the West Coast and now you're on the East Coast. I found that people on the East Coast are way more clueless about clean beauty. Do you think that's true, or is it?
Definitely. I see it as an opportunity, but also as an obstacle
Me too,
because,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, even in food, I used to be gluten free. And in California and Oregon, in Portland, where I lived, I mean, I remember I was on a trip to Florida with my parents and I was gluten free and we went into some restaurant and I said, "Is this gluten free?" And the guy just said, "What's that?" And it's just like, so a lot of people, yeah. So on one end, being on the East Coast, I'm thinking I just want to introduce people to clean beauty. And um, so, like I said, it's a opportunity, but also like a huge obstacle.
It really is. And it's almost like you have to think about your communication differently a little bit. And that's what I learned. Like when I'm on the East Coast, I have to be far more like basic about,
Hmm.
you know, our shampoo is low foaming. Why is it low foaming? What does that mean? How is it, you know what I mean? Like things that in California, they're like, well, of course, you don't have sulfates. Yeah, we
Right.
know that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it is interesting. And of course, the US is so diverse and also so
Yeah.
divided these days.
Yeah. And
That
also there's getting around the whole the not being aware of how, I mean, I went through it too. I thought if it's in a drugstore shelf, it's obviously safe for me. It's FDA approved. They wouldn't be selling me something that is might be harmful to my body. So a lot of people might have that mentality here. It's like, oh, what, I use a Irish Spring soap and that's fine for me. Why would I use your coconut oil? What it's kind of that. It works so far. You might have eczema and might have to have prescription drugs to counteract the skin issues, but in their in their in their head, it's like I've been using it all this time.
Yeah, you're right. And not only them, sometimes it's like your mother used it or your father used it and Old Spice or Irish Spring or
Yeah.
Olay or some of these brands that have been around forever. And I think, oh my gosh, I worked when I worked in advertising, one of the brands that I worked on for a very short amount of time was Noxzema.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is like toxic. No, seriously.
I used it. I had the jar. I had
Yes,
those
growing
pads,
up.
the Stridex pads.
I know, but it's really bad. Like you look at those ingredients and it's horrifying. And so and that's the other thing that I find is challenging is getting people to understand the value equation because they can go and buy their Olay or their Noxzema or their cheap stuff and feel fine about it exactly for the
Mm-hmm.
reasons you're saying. But at the same time, we know that it's not good for them. And then our products are really high quality and have really good ingredients. And the ingredients are sourced from, fair trade and amazing farms and places where we know exactly what they are. And sometimes I do have people that kind of say like, oh my God, $38 for a shampoo. And it's like, oh, it's like you have no idea. You're either buying like detergent and
Right.
putting it on your scalp, or you're buying something actually good. So I do wish it's gonna get there at some point, but I think the challenge for us as small brands is like we're the ones that seem to be leading the way
Mm-hmm.
get these higher quality ingredients out there. The big brands don't really want to have to raise their price or change
Right.
the supply chain or do anything difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that. But I think when people try it, just like you're saying, like with that one customer, hopefully they really start to see that, oh my God, it is better.
Yeah. I love when um I have like if I'm at a market or something and the customer picks up my product and you know immediately looks at the back of the ingredients, that's usually going to be a customer that's going to buy it because they have the knowledge, they recognize the
Yeah,
quality. I love that.
I love that
Versus,
too.
so I mean, I'm super proud of my ingredient list. So yeah, and there's a reason why I am a product of, I mean, like I said, I had the high end stuff from my sister and friends in the beauty industry, but I was also I mean, especially as a teen, all about those drugstore sales. I use an Noxzema, I use a Stridex. I have a lot of beauty nightmare horror stories of like um, trying to become more beautiful. Like I have one where I use an eyelash curler. I was getting ready for a date and I wanted so hard for my eyelashes to curl that I was clamping it so hard that when I removed it, I basically cut them. So it's
Oh,
like they were sticking to my curler. So it's like there's such a drive for beauty that's not missing in anyone. But yeah, I get it. The cheap price because then you can buy more. You can buy every flavor of that face mask. So, but like I said, I'm a product of that. I got really sick. I guess my body met its toxic limit at 35.
yeah.
And
Wow.
so, our bodies are very what's the word? Uh resilient, I guess. But
Mm.
they have their limit. Um, you're going to get your allergies and your eczema and your inflammation, asthma. So I think it was since it wasn't immediate as a young kid, as a teenager buying products, I didn't see the dangers right after using those products. Since it was such a slow build, um, that's sadly people have to experience that before they start to really look at it and start to choose higher quality ingredients. Luckily, I hear there's informed youth who are, luckily there's people that can avoid the health problems to really make a change. So that's sort of the market. It's like a lot of people who buy from me are people who have suffered from the toxin overload, and maybe informed younger people who maybe saw their parents, or so it's an interesting yeah, I understand why these people balk at the price and have that mentality, because I was there too once.
Exactly. Me too. And I worked on some of those brands in my,
Yeah.
so I almost feel like I'm trying to almost, you know, give back in a way like karma, right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm trying to make up for pushing products like that for years we didn't know that they were the way, that they were that bad at
Right.
the time, but now we do know better. You can get the research. One of the things you can do if you're interested in trying to switch out to clean products is find brands like the Conscious Beauty Collective, which all the brands are clean by EU standards, which is way stricter. Everyone's sustainably minded, which we didn't even get into that, but that's a whole, I mean, the beauty industry is really dirty when it comes to that. And we're all indie brands that are making a difference. So anyway, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking time out on your Saturday before Thanksgiving. And I think we can pick this up in another time and probably have lots more to talk about. Anything you want to leave as a parting thought?
I just want to say thank you so much, Lynn. You're sort of our hero.
Oh, please.
Bringing No, and it's just to go about what you said about the collective. A lot of us have personal motivation. I mean, we're passionate about bringing clean products. I never thought I'd have a skincare brand. This wasn't what I had what I want to do when I grow up. But I think all of us have this passion for it. And thank you so much for making people aware of it. I'm really thankful to
Well,
you.
we're making a dent, brick by brick. I feel like we're building it out. It's maybe a little bit slower than a lot of us would like, including me, but hopefully we're making a difference, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All
All
right, so
right.
anyone that's watching, you can get ESTELÍ at the 2 locations in Knoxville. You can also get it at Wendell House in Crozet. Am I saying it correct now? Crozet,
This is
Virginia?
now our home state, so it's exciting
Yeah.
to be there.
And then you're somewhere else too, right? I think you're also, are you in one of the
New
New York
York.
City? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, are you in Clara?
Yes.
Yes, so Clara is on the Upper East Side, Clara Beauty Bar. So those 4 locations are places where you can get her products. I know a lot of New Yorkers out there are listening. Come on, people, go in, check it out, pick it up. Great gifts. Holidays are around the corner. So, and then you can also get stuff online. Esteli Body.
Mm-hmm.
So, no excuse not to try it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll talk again soon.
All right.